Welcome to the Rise and Flow podcast with me, your host, Elaine, a 5-1 manifester and the goddess of fun. This is a space where we go deep into unlocking your magic so you can step into your power in your life and business. Tune in weekly with me and a host of expansive guests where we dive deep into areas such as energetics, spirituality, and business so you can rise and flow. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We are ready for an amazing, exciting conversation today. I would advise you to get on a pair of shoes, get out for a walk, and listen to this one. You are going to be initiated by myself and the fabulous Brooke Dukes, who is a 5-1 manifesting generator. You know, I've always talked about the love of the many gens, and now I've got the same profile here in the studio with me. But Brooke is coming in from the studio from the States. She is a behavioral strategist. She's a best-selling author. She is the host of the Burn On Not Out podcast, and she runs a company that does consultancy and for leaders in human design. So I'm so excited to bring you Powerhouse on, who's innovating all these amazing modalities in for our top leaders in the corporate spaces and for individuals who are really working to step into their power. So Brooke, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Elaine.
So welcome to the show, first of all. And we have just, sometimes I'm like, shit, should we have just pressed record straight away? Because we've probably had a half an hour of like really good conversation on our human design. And obviously we both shared the 5-1 profile. But before we dive into all of this and, you know, leadership and alignment and authenticity, can you share a little bit about your amazing story? Like, you've had obviously a fabulous life so far. I always say this almost like the Bible. It's like BCAD. It's like,
yeah,
before human design, after human design. Because we have two
yes.
lives, right? We have like when we're completely unconscious of our potential and we work to hustle. Through hustle, we've achieved success. And then there's after, and it's achieving success through alignment, which is your specialty field.
Yes.
Sorry, she's also founder of the Success by Design community. So Come on, let's lead the way. So who is Brooke without all of the labels and amazing achievements?
Well, I've been on this journey, God, for over 20 years. And it really started for me at 34. And I was on a corporate jet in preterm labor with my second child. And I was in corporate America. I worked for, pardon me?
Were you working when you were on the jet?
Yes.
In preterm labor?
Well, I'd been working on a large deal. I was with a Fortune 100 IT company, and we'd been working with United Airlines for a year and a half. We were outsourcing their call center to Nova Scotia. And so we were right at the end of closing the deal. I had a team of 25 people that I was leading to get it all done. I was not the IT expert, still am not, nor do I ever want to be. And I was 8 months pregnant. Was supposed to be on bed rest, but of course, as my, now I know 5-1 MG hustle, get it done, really was in full force at that time. But I prepped my right-hand person who was more qualified to go on the trip with me than I was. She knew all about IT. I did not. That's what they wanted to know. Well, how was this going to work? Not me, who was quarterbacking the whole deal. Anyway, I told my boss and he said, great, she'll get your bonus, which was a 6-figure bonus. So he said, I've got the corporate jet for you. You'll be fine. I went on the way home, went into preterm later. My daughter was fine. They stopped it. It was great. Went right to the hospital, but it was a huge wake up call for me because I recognized that I was living so far out of my values that anyone that looked at me would have thought all I cared about was success and money, which couldn't have been further from the truth. I had an amazing husband, 2 kids, all the things. And what I really then started my journey on was recognizing I was an abused child and mother who stayed in a relationship 10 years longer than she should have because she couldn't financially support us. So it wasn't that I needed all of the success, the limelight and all that. No, that meant safety to me. I never wanted to be in that position. I just didn't know it. So I drove myself so hard because I did never want to be in the position she was in. So that kind of started it. Fast forward to, 4 businesses later, I left corporate America, never went back, started 4 businesses. This is my 4th. And the 3rd one, where I was a partner in a large firm, consulting firm again, and left in, you and I were talking about it, in mid 2023 as my Aries shoved me
Node
out the
return.
door. And that I really needed, I was looking for something because I was so down on myself. I was like, why did I stay so long? It wasn't supporting me. I mean, all the things, the narcissism, the gaslighting, it was all there. And I'd been there for 16 years building this business. Human design had shown up 8 years prior to that, but I can't integrate it. It's too complicated. I don't have time. It showed up 3 years after that, same thing. And then it showed up right at this time where I'm like, holy shit, okay, this is going to help me understand myself. This is going to help me understand why the fuck I stayed for 16 years. And so that I can stop shaming myself, blaming myself, feeling guilty, all the things that were overwhelming me. And then I dove in. My one just went, went in, and it changed my life. Like, I've done so many NLP, neuroscience, psychology, behavioral science, you name it, I have done it. Psychedelic journey, I mean, all of it. Human design changed my life more profoundly than any of that.
Like I said the exact same thing. Obviously, I have a podcast where every episode I'm still human design, human design, human design, even though it's not like I never wanted to brand myself as a human design coach because, like yourself, as a Manny Chen, we don't like well, Aries. We don't like being put in boxes, and it's not. I have so many other different modalities, but absolutely, it is the map. It is the map home. I mean, I've talked on several interviews in this podcast, bringing on other people in human design. I'm like, bring it into corporate, bring it into. It needs to be taught in schools. I'm kind of going like, I literally just
Yes.
had this conversation with my husband, and I was like, it is nuts. Obviously, I went through the Aries node of return, same as you, right?
Yeah.
And I am like, what the actual fuck are we learning, or where are we teaching our kids in school these days when I have spent 2 years massively unraveling childhood trauma?
Yeah.
Why did I get myself also in a situation of gaslighting? And these are like collective things, themes that has been happening. We're all waking up, our consciousness is shifting. But I'm kind of going, how am I only really learning and understand myself now? But also, what is just so profound, as I know you experience, obviously teaching and coaching through the human design system, is when you start seeing, because I know obviously we can be skeptics. 5 1s, we want to know all the information. And I'm here going, oh, this is another fucking personality test. Because I've been obviously from corporate as well. We started doing all this kind of behavioral science understanding when we were entered the field at the very beginning.
Right.
And I'm like, is this just another thing? But I'm like, it amazes me deeper, even beyond corporate performance or leadership, or it's the energetics, it's the soul evolution that we're here for. And like, you can just pick it up and like from like, you people tune in from anywhere online, from anywhere in the world. And they're like, wow, you see me more in 5 minutes than like my own mother does, for example. I've
Yeah.
had
You
crazy
can't make
things like
this
this.
shit up. It's crazy. Agree.
So, okay. So you've been going through obviously huge evolution yourself. You have obviously worked in this field of personal self-development, leadership development for many, many years,
Yeah.
many modalities. And as you said, human design was the biggest gateway. And so obviously naturally then you brought this into corporate. So how did it land, first of all? Because I know many people are curious.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't need to specialize in the spiritual niche. The change is happening when people do the healing work and are in the systems. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's been so, I mean, I've been an executive coach for probably, over 20 years. And by getting someone's chart, I know more about them without even them open their mouth than I could have ever found out in 3 to 6 months of coaching. And I'm a damn good coach. So first off, I was like, holy, I can make such an impact, like immediately. Because for me, I love that you said that it's not a freaking personality test, because what it's doing is it's showing you who you were designed to be, how you were designed to show up in the world before the world, either trauma and emotional, you kept putting your armor on because of the pain that you experienced. So it just helps you to shed that armor to get back to people that come to me in corporate everywhere. It's always, I'm close to burnout or I'm burnt out. I'm afraid to slow down because if I do, everything will crumble. I'm looking for the next expert. I'm looking for the next strategy. I'm like, fuck that. You're the expert. Let me show you your genius. You're your best strategy. And so that it's opened up everything because again, I don't want you to be a client of mine for the rest of your life. I'm not doing my job. I just want to show you your genius. I want to show you your unique strategy, your energetic blueprint, and fucking run with it. Go change the world. And so it's because my vision is to raise the world's consciousness, right? To really help people understand who they are, their area of genius. And it, to me, starting at corporate, where so much of the shadow and conditioning and narcissism and gaslighting, my God, it's rampant. If you can start changing that, oh my God, it's just going to change so exponentially.
Like life changing. And I'm actually, when you're there, because I'm like, do leaders have sessions with you? Because I actually am like, we're a threat to retention. You know, when you come in with this work and you're empowering people with, oh, here's your blueprint, this is your purpose. And it's like, because what it is, like, I mean, I've done all of those studies and training programs, like the Berkman, the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, all of them
Yes,
when
yeah,
in my
all of it.
corporate
Yes.
development. When I stepped out of corporate, I didn't know who the fuck I was. I was like, this doesn't really apply because a lot of these I find can actually just also put you in a box. Whereas I
Yes.
keep saying, I'm like, human design is the map that gets you out of the box and back into being and feeling. And what I really learn is like, I can see over different times in my life where like the energy that I started to feel when I was coming back to myself, I had glimpses of it. Or maybe this time when I was in college, or like you can start to feel your own resonance when you reflect back.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, there's more of this. But with conditioning, I always like to say this is a visual. We're in circle, but it's like we develop filters when we don't clear the pain, when we don't process our emotion, and then all of a sudden we're just looking through this dirty lens, do you know?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
even I know we were talking about like doing like deep healing and shadow work the last like 2 years, like both of us.
Yeah.
And I was like saying that it was a big lesson in duality because I was able to see more and more joy in the everyday moments of every single day, but I was facing deeper parts of the pain and shadow that wasn't even mine. It was probably a lot of it was generational and mine also, and from my real life experience. But it was just like, it was like, wow. And it really feels like when you come back into your blueprint then and you connect with that energy, and it's just like, this is amazing. And we're both coming from the point of view of being completely traditional,
Yep.
completely in the system. I'm always re-emphasize this because I know actually I do have like a huge amount of male listeners, which is amazing, and you're all welcome and loved here. But it's like it was a male designed system, but it wasn't even designed for the man to operate. Do you know, like we're in this world now where like families can barely survive in the traditional systems on two salaries. People are being burnt out. So I want to come back to you, but also on the question of the identity of the woman in corporate, because we were talking about this like as the manifester, right? I see things way ahead of time. And this is also a skill we both share. Obviously, you're Manny Jen and you're the 5-1. So we're the visionaries. And
Yeah.
when I left my big corporate job, also flying on the private jet, ever, and it was funny because also another conversation with my husband today, I was like, the next time I'm not really like that doesn't really motivate me. I don't have that on my vision board going, oh my God, I want to hit this in business and get a private jet. I was like, the next time I'm ever going to be in a private jet will be on my terms, fully rested if it feels aligned. But I remember feeling also in this position where I was like, I am so burnt out. We just had finished this big tender. And I was sitting there and I remember having this pain in my stomach. And, our boss was just like, just take it. Because again, they want you to just get the job done.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I was kind of going like, this is not success for me. And I was
Mm-mm.
glad I seen it, but none of my friends, no one resonated at the time. Everyone thought I was fucking crazy. They're like,
Me too.
what, you're going off to India to learn how to teach yoga? Are you going to be a yoga teacher? And I'm like, I don't know actually, but I was like, I just want to have time for myself where I'm not constantly chasing. And this is a trend I see in all high performance women. right? It's what is the reason as to like what drove us for success. And what you said at the beginning there really hit home for me because you're like, growing up in an abusive household. And it's like, I had to learn. Like I was told, well, it wasn't physically abusive, it was emotional, but it was like, you're on your own when you're 18. So like I went out that door and it was like, I have to survive. Like I have to survive myself. And I didn't realize also the same as you. I was like, what is driving this to,
Yeah.
but I also have the same, like we've got such a passion and joy for life. It was like this polarity behavior that you're like, this isn't kind of adding up. And this is where you start investigating the patterns and all this kind of stuff. But when you see this in women now, I was like, I was single. I obviously had no children at the time, but I was like single, like there was no potential of any of this, but I knew I wanted this. I was approaching 30 at the time. And I was like, this isn't sustainable. If I'm working at this level, I don't have time for a boyfriend. I was like, I'm on the road, I'm traveling all the time. I don't have time for a boyfriend. How the fuck can any woman do this and have children and enjoy being a wife and enjoy being a mother? Because I actually don't think I would. And that
Nope.
was being radically honest with myself. But anyone else I was having this conversation with, like, it was just like, women in corporate back in the day were terrified to voice their opinion. They were terrified to be their authentic selves because it's like, what can we say that's acceptable? And if we shared emotion, it's just like, oh, you're being emotional, blah, blah, blah. Like, put that back in a box. Intuition doesn't even fucking exist. And I'm here kind of going like, so the pressure that's on women now,
Yeah.
like the expectations, like the role of being a woman in today's society is absolutely fucking nuts. Like, I think it's absolutely crazy, the expectations, but I also think the standards for our health are so fucking low. Like,
Yeah.
we're only getting leave in corporates for maternity leave now. Or sorry, if someone has a miscarriage or, I think menopause awareness is starting to come in terms of like women in perimenopause that are not sleeping and they're going in to expect to perform on like with top level performance on 2 hours
Yeah.
sleep. And it's just like, no. But now the change is happening. But you've lived through this,
Yeah.
right, yourself. You, which by the way, Brooke is 55. Doesn't she look fucking incredible?
I'm actually 57.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at an old human design. It was from 2 years ago. Okay, that
What?
makes more sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, okay. But you are the woman that like that inspires me, right? Because a lot of us didn't have a blueprint of a mother that worked, right? So we no one paving the way for us. We just went in and you do what you think you need to do to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah.
So give us the lowdown on this identity evolution, because I know, well, we talked about this before, and women are waking up now and we're like, no more. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to, hustle culture is going to fucking end. Being a boss, like I can't be all of these things. We need to come back to our blueprint. So share your insights on this. Because I know obviously you do work with men as well, but I'm more interested in the females for this part of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, and this is so huge. And I love that you're bringing this up because it's not talked about enough. So, and I completely agree with you. It is, especially, I feel, for Manny Gens and generator mothers, it is especially difficult to have a child. Not that we shouldn't, I think we're amazing, but we need to redefine what the perfect mother looks like. So yes, I have 2 kids. I'm working my ass off. No, I couldn't enjoy that because we took on, especially from my generation. So my mother was a stay at home. My grandmother was a stay at home. Oh, I got all this freedom. I get to work. Well, what they didn't fucking tell us was you're just going to have 2 jobs now. You're going to work out of the house and you're still going to do everything that your mother and your grandmother did as a stay at home mom. So aren't you lucky you have 2 fucking jobs now? It was like, but yet, especially women of my generation, we just had to put on we are the ultimate pretenders because you couldn't say I'm drowning. This is fucking hard. There are days when I look at my child and say, why the fuck did I do this? This is the most difficult thing I've ever done. And especially Manny, Gens, and Gens, our purpose typically, not for everyone, but for most of us, our purpose is not our child. We're put here to work, to recreate,
Build.
we don't feel right to build. We don't feel like, and do you think about, I'm supposed to look at, oh my God, and this is so good. And you don't feel that way because it's not how you're designed and society set us up to fucking fail. So so many people in corporate, oh my God, the millennials and this and that. No, fucking, they've got it. They know. They want to enjoy life now. People of my generation, you killed it. You killed yourself. You had to work till you were, you just work now to be able to then retire, enjoy your life later. Yeah, that doesn't happen. You typically die by, 5 years after retirement. They want to enjoy life now because that is my strategy for successes. Follow your joy. And if that means going to take a walk or whatever. So going back to the motherhood, I love that people are talking about it now and that they really are looking at, I have to take care of me first. It's like the airline, put on your mask first before you put it on anyone else. That's how I'm better in business. That's how I'm a better mother. All of the, and to your point, then you are the role model for your children, especially your daughters. You go for more quality time than quantity. You don't need to be there all the time, especially when you're in a low state. What are you teaching them then? That it's okay to sacrifice your body. It's okay to sacrifice your joy for someone else, even if it's your child. No, it's not. You have to just live, be authentically you and show them what that looks like so that then they have permission to be authentically them. The helicopter mom is bullshit. Stop that.
And the self-sacrifice as a badge of
Oh,
honor, mom.
yeah. Fuck that. No.
Yeah. And this is, I'm so happy, right, to bring you on here. Like, you're 57, fabulous. Your kids are in their late 20s now, right? So they're both projectors, by the way. So she's raised two beautiful
23,
non-sacral leaders of
I
the new earth.
know. Yeah.
But
A 23-year-old pro soccer player and a 27-year-old pilot. So they are living their dream as projectors.
what a great job for a projector, actually, pilot. I love it. There's nothing more amazing than a sunrise or sunset from the cockpit.
No.
But like, it is about the modeling piece, because it's coming back to going like, why? And I know we've talked about this in great measure before, like, as in, like, when we start unraveling to come back to our actual human design blueprint now, we're like, where have I developed all these behaviors? Obviously, most of our programming happens as a child from 0 to 7.
Yes.
Because like, I'm like, obviously the last number of years I'm learning to take care of myself, learning to put myself first. And you notice this in certain ways where, like, and I know we're kind of designed slightly different because obviously we're conditioned to operate in one way in corporate, which we probably come like a powerhouse. Everything's all about profit margins and sales and whatever. And then we
Yep.
go home and it's like, let's make sure everyone's happy. We're the kitchen table. We're like, what do I need for everyone? And I used to notice in just subtle things like, you're putting out the dinner, I'm making the presentations nice and everyone, but if one is not as great, I'll give that to myself. And
Ex-
you know, something simple as that. Like, that's literally where I start to notice these things. And I'm kind of going like, wow. But the crazier part for me was on the conditioning and how this comes in based on societal expectations of the identity of the woman. So me and my partner are together, husband, 10 years now. And he has 2 kids. So I have 2 stepkids. So they're not my biological children. There is not such a thing of like, we have a child and it's our hormones that happens. And then all of a sudden we start behaving in a certain way. No, I actually just could not understand how my behavior started to change. And it was like, the plate got bigger. And then all of a sudden my behavior was doing all of this stuff and over giving. And obviously this is what guided me to self-care in the first place and learning about the whole concept of overflow strategy, which is all the stuff I teach now. But it was shocked me how much we have just been trained to be the good girl and be the one of like, take care of everyone else's needs, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what kills us in business, because we start doing this behavior with our clients as well. Particularly when women step out of that more corporate machine and into the, I want to build you into your potential and I want to be heart led. And then we feel we can be too, this is when we have our unhealed empath running the show. The unconditioned parts of ourselves. So for you, like, what shift have you seen, well, in leadership in general in the last couple of years? Because we're approaching 2027. Anyone into human design, we're all excited as fuck about this change. Everyone's like counted down till the first of until we shift into 2026. But really, it's going to be the Chinese New Year that we start seeing the big energy change in February. So, what have you noticed in the last couple of years that's leading up to this big shift that we're all experiencing collectively now?
Well, and what I love about this, because it's been my evolution, and you spoke about it earlier, from masculine frequency, which has nothing to do with gender. We need to call it something else. But anyway, from that masculine frequency of do, massive action, right? Like get it done and all of that, into more of this feminine energy of ease and flow. So we're stopping the chasing and we're starting attracting. And I'm seeing that. I'm not necessarily seeing it as far as a massive shift in corporate. No, we're still in the map, but I'm seeing the openness to want to learn about it. So I feel like, especially in America, we are at such an upheaval right now, right? We have such a divide. We have all, and to me, regardless of what side you're on, we're seeing what was underneath the surface. Like people always felt like this, like America is racist and sexist and all the things, but we hid it quite well. Well, it has brought up all of that now. So, and I feel like that's happening in corporate America. Like all this shit is coming out, like our economy is like all this, to then kind of the rising phoenix to come out and recognize that the way we've always done things in the industrial era, we needed to have a lot of that drive and that push. There was a definite time for it, not the way it manifested completely, but moving into this now, it's like you can just feel it, where people, it's setting us up, I believe, to really be grateful for it, because we've had such hard times to just ease into that and ease into our bodies and feel our intuition and start attracting. So the shift, long story short on it, that I'm seeing is the openness to want to learn about it, because people are
Mm.
unhappy and they're willing to pretty much try fucking anything right now. Where, before, no, shit's going well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Who cares? Woo, right? And now they're like, okay, I used to think it was woo woo bullshit. I don't even care if it is anymore. Just bring it on, because something's got to shift, type of, at least in the States.
No, I love hearing this. And I'm like, anybody, like when I came into, like, I think I went so hard out of corporate into the woo, into the spiritual side of things. And, I went from being so in my toxic masculine and probably then went into my toxic feminine thinking I'm just going to sit there and meditate and everything's going to fucking happen for me for a period of, I know, like that was a very brief window. I am an Aries. Like I'm like, we have a burning desire for reaching our potential. And but it was definitely a little bit in my comfort zone for sure. And it's like you have to rebuild your entire identity when you leave corporate, obviously. And I then obviously were my safe space where I felt safe at that point in time and for more my full self, because I got to explore this part of myself and my humanity and my identity as a woman, what my feminine, what I can lie down and just receive. And I meant to rest and I meant to honor my cycle. Honor my cycle, because obviously I had endometriosis at the time. That's what really pushed me on this journey. It was health challenges and being on like I'm in better health now approaching 40 than I was approaching 30, which is actually mind blowing for me. To revert back in your point, and like we are creating, by us stepping up and changing now, we're paving a new path for the younger generations that are coming up. But the younger generations are already creating the change. Like I was just on the phone before for this to my 16-year-old niece, who just sent me on her logo that she designed herself for her like transition year. It's like a fourth year that we do in high school in Ireland. It's like it's not a gap year, but it's like when you're 15, 16, they have this year where it's more about like self-development and they set up their own company and they trial. So she's making scented candles and period pockets that you heat up that attaches to your clothes. And I was like, go you, I'm so fucking proud of you. And I was like, when I was your age, I was like, talking about a period was so shamed, like so shamed, like particularly in Ireland. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy. And women, again, as you say, has developed so many masks that we would just go into work and override that. The same way as like you're like, oh, I'm 8 months pregnant. That's actually high risk. you should be resting. It's like, no, you need to get the deal done. Like, let's dangle the money. So the other piece, just because obviously you're coaching executives, leaders in Fortune 500 companies, right? People that seem like they have it all. And I am so glad this is just such is confirmation to my younger self, because I was PM on a big project that was just execs when I was like 27, I think. So I would be in these people's homes and they have the private jets and the cars and the drivers and all this kind of stuff. And I was kind of going, fuck, is this what I'm working towards? I do not want this life. I was like, maybe I need to rethink things a little bit, right? But
Right.
it seems like it's taken time to get this shift. But the problem is, when you've built your lifestyle around a corporate salary, which I know you know as well, and you're
Oh, yeah.
getting well paid, and you've got your kids in school, and you've got this nice car, maybe you have 2 nice cars and payment plans and big mortgage and whatever, it is very fucking hard to unhook yourself from that system. And ironically, there is still, you can be on multiple 6 figures and leaders are still in survival mode. Can you talk about that for me? Let's
Yeah. I
unpack.
mean, and that's the big thing. So many times leaders will come to me and they'll be like, okay, I feel like they feel like they're in a fog, and they don't remember what I said. Well, what lights you up? What brings you joy? I don't know. Like, they're numb. They're almost like gray. So it's really about like just helping them to understand, who am I again? And the only way to do that is to jump off the treadmill. So it's a huge leap of faith, but let's face it, all the fucking greatness is right outside our comfort zone, right? Face the fear, do it anyway. Just, my good friend always says, take imperfect action. It's all right. You can shift course. Like, taking the drama out of it, because when we're on that treadmill and we're doing all the things, everything seems so big. Everything seems so, oh, no, you're not going to die. You're not going to lose it's all going to be okay. Like, really. So a lot of times what I'll do is taking someone there. Like, okay, so what could happen? Like, let's feel it. Let's feel into worst case scenario, because what's the biggest fear? Fear of the unknown. So when you can take someone there, it takes some of that out of it, because you really have to change what you do. You have to step off. You have to step off the hustle bus, really get in touch with yourself and look at, who am I again? And what do I want? Not what have I been conditioned to want, not the whole women. We all had that. Well, if I just outwork the men, I'll get the promotion. No, you fucking won't. They'll just sit back and reap the rewards of you working yourself to death. I gave myself COVID and shingles at the same time. Yeah, I know. I get it. And just really helping them to understand, yes, it's going to be a big shift. Yes, it's going to be hard. And the other side of this is really the only option you have, because you have worked yourself into such a state that you don't know who you are anymore. Nothing is bringing you joy. What other choice do you have? So, I mean, I'm just very no bullshit. Here's what it is. And by the time people come to me, they're kind of at their wits' end. They've tried other things. They're like, fuck it, let's just go. I know you're a little crazy and you're going to tell me things I probably don't want to hear, and I'm ready for it now. And so that's what we do.
Amazing. On the ready for it piece, right? Because I know, well, I've had many clients reflect this to me. Well, because we're both 5-1s and we're both Aries, right? So we're like, we will shine a light in any shadow. We don't even need to read the blueprint, because we can read the field. But it's like, our truth can be so piercing. Because I've had clients be like, I've been waiting to be ready to work with you, because I know by working with you, I'm going to be brought into action. Interrupting this episode for a quick initiation. If you are listening to this and you're feeling the pull for more clarity, more alignment, more you, then this is your invitation. I have created the best of you for people who are done trying to fix themselves and they're ready to embody who they're here to be. Over 6 weeks, we work with your energy blueprint, nervous system regulation, breathwork, ritual, and hypnosis to clear old patterns and anchor a new identity that actually not only attracts but holds the life you want. You don't walk away motivated, you walk away clear, aligned, regulated, and magnetic as fuck. Your body just said yes. you will find the link in the show notes. I have to confront the stuff that I've been avoiding. Like, avoiding is costing you everything. Like, I would fucking hate to be waking up, like, and bear in mind, like, as we all know on this spiritual journey or like rising into your potential and doing any sort of shadow work, it is not sunshine and rainbows every day. When you have to confront the shadow, it is like death. We were just talking about this before, like on the extremities of how the ego fights. Actually, and I don't know if you want to share some insights on this, particularly from your background in neuroscience as well, because it's like they're stepping out of the role of, like, you know, the person who was maybe the overgiver, the overfunctioner, whatever it is. It's like something that they have attached their success to, even though it's not bringing joy. And to step away from that, and as you say, by the time they're coming to you, they're already at a point of like absolute burnout or whatever. And like, how can we educate the collective not to get to this point, not to have it to be a disaster or an illness or a big soul shattering event that wakes you the fuck up? Like, it's like if it's not working now, it's not going to work.
Right.
And I don't know whether sometimes you do this very well with your messaging of human design, because you bring a lot of these kind of more like esoteric practices, Eastern philosophies, the spiritual tools. The language doesn't communicate to somebody that's in a stage of burnout. Like, you know, talking about fucking nodal returns and blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, if that was even back to my old version of myself, I'm kind of going like, I'm just tired. Give me something. Solve my most immediate need.
Right.
So what are you noticing, like, in terms of, because you're selling alignment as the path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, we
So
are.
really for this, what I look at is you for someone, because especially if they're like me and like you, we're 5/1s. I teach through my experiences in life. So for me, there wasn't another path but to hit burnout. Like no one could have told me, like, why don't you do it before, Brooke? Why do you have to make these tough? That's what my path was. So I think the biggest thing is, yes, if someone has come to me and they're not quite at that burnout stage, I will share my story. I will, because what happens, and that's why, you know, a lot of women listening to this, people say, well, why do battered women stay? Like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Like, why don't they just leave? Like, because our brain is wired that way. We are wired for certainty. We want even something that is bad, something that is hurting us in this moment, seems less scary than the unknown. So it's really helping people to understand and to see that, okay, here's where you're, and stepping out of this, like, let's learn from what you've experienced so far. But everyone's journey, I found, some people didn't have to go get as low as I did, or they weren't, and they can come, and they're coming more proactively to say, okay, what is this? What do I do? How do I step out of it? But it's really just about doing something different. We call it the evolution of growth. And when you're at the beginning, or unconsciously incompetent when you start something. Let's just take like driving a car, for instance, right? When we're 15, at least in the States, I think you guys have something the same, but there is nothing we want more than to get our driver's license. Like, that age of 16, it was like, oh my God, everything's going to change. I'm going to have freedom. I'm going to get away from my parents. I'm going to do all the things, right? We're unconsciously incompetent. We don't know what we don't know. And we're thinking, fuck, grandma can drive. How hard can this be? I'm going to be a whiz at this. I'm just going to get my license and go. And so we're at the excitement stage. Well, then the moment we start to change, the moment we hit that, okay, it's resistance, our unconscious mind pops up. Because what does our unconscious mind do? It is all about safety. Any change, either good or bad, means death to the unconscious mind. So when it recognizing that you're changing, so as a driver, you're like, you start driving like, oh my God, this is so hard. Your hands are like at 10 and 2. You're like, God forbid if they ask me to get onto the highway, I'm going to lose my shit. I mean, it's so hard. And you're in that doubt, because then the unconscious mind brings in, because what does it do? It's the perfect filing cabinet. Everything our body has experienced from all of our senses is filed in a filing cabinet in our unconscious mind. So it goes back to that filing cabinet and it brings forward experiences when you were embarrassed, when you were, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. I'm going to be the only kid in school that doesn't drive. I'm never going to get a date. I'm going to have to walk everywhere. I'm going to be tied to my parents forever. Ridicule, all the things, because that is our unconscious mind's way of saying, stop changing, danger, danger, go back to what you knew. And what we need to do is push through that phase. Well, where for me, I thought for some unknown reason that you need to accelerate through turns. So my initial driving was like, holy shit, I suck at this. What do I do? But there was no other option for me because the pain that I would have in my head would have experienced from not being a driver was way worse than what my unconscious mind was throwing at me. Because then, okay, I was consciously incompetent. I recognized that I didn't know what I was doing. So I pushed through to a determination phase where that's when you're like, okay, I practiced. I'm like, all right, calm down. I get it. I see where I want to get to. So I practiced driving with my mom. And so I was determined at that phase. I was consciously competent. It was still hard, right? I still had to had the radio off, no distractions. Don't talk to me. I'm really not focused on this. And then I would move to accomplishment where I became a driver. I was unconsciously competent where now I could pull into the driveway and be like, holy shit, how did I get here? Because my identity is of a driver. So when I'm driving home, my conscious mind is I'm figuring out all these things I'm going to do for our community and all of that. My unconscious mind drives the car while I'm doing all of this other stuff. So that is really what we teach people. The goal is to not skip over the doubt phase. No, the goal is to shorten that doubt phase and not quit and celebrate that you're in it, because what that means is you're changing. Otherwise, your unconscious mind wouldn't give a shit. You're the same as you were yesterday. We're good. But as soon as you start changing and becoming, and so that's one of the first things we tell people because we want them to be aware that it's coming. Don't be afraid. Yep, you're going to go through some dark days. You're going to go through some dark thoughts and all of that. And it's okay. Celebrate it. It means you're different than yesterday. It means you're actually on the path to exactly where you want to go. Otherwise, you're going to get the same. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And that the best day is yet to come. Do you know, because there can be an element, I don't know if you felt this, where it's like you take the masks off, you decondition, come home to yourself, and then you look back on the life that you thought that you were happy in, to some extent. Obviously, I know when we get tired and everything's shit, but and you look back and you're kind of going like, what the actual fuck? And now you see the world so differently because your consciousness has changed. You're able to actually and you're actually also learning as well that actually I did know a lot of this stuff intuitively, but I overrid it based on societal expectations or the standards that have been set by other people or systems or whatever, not your own personal truth.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, and sometimes you're like, which I see this, I've experienced it myself. I see it in clients all the time. They resist the shadow. The ego will keep them doing anything that will stop them from letting that old identity fully die, because it literally is like a death. Your mind thinks that it is dying when we're going through these big shifts. So it's a good analogy to the car reference, but also I think for you as a Manny Jen to teach this, right? Because I know each of the energy types, we all have so much magic, individual things to share. Then I also say as well, I wouldn't be able to teach at the level I do if I also hadn't gone through some of the stuff. So I'm here going, you're welcome, everybody, from me and Brooke, for all the shit that we went through to develop more practical solutions for the collective or create better systems. So we went through the shit to develop, as you say, these lessons so we can lead a different type of leadership, which is what we're seeing birthing now, in corporate, in all areas. So it's like heart-led leadership with the feminine and the masculine, not just the masculine. And that is for men and for women, emotions are important. EQ is extremely important. But I think for you as the Manny Gen, because the big piece as a manifester, I'm here to teach rest as a strategy, and like in addition to all of those things. But
Yeah.
that was my biggest lesson. Learning rest as a strategy and teaching people that has been huge. I think it's a signature line from like any program. Actually, it started with my first one. Everyone was like, "The work's in the rest. The work's in the rest." I'm going, I need to get this on a freaking. I need to trademark this and put it on a cup, and that can be the biggest shift. But for you as the Manny Gen and the generators, will find the ego deaths hard, and you will sabotage your own evolution and your own growth, your effort, if you don't learn to rest, right? Because
Yes.
the void is something everybody has to go through, and we need to be able to sit in the void to let the entire old identity die for our new identity to land in the actual physical body, which is not something we've ever been taught of as well. Like in all our work training, it is the mind. I know me and yourself, we've done so much like performance training, resilience training, blah, blah, blah. And we sit at a desk for whatever, 10 hours a day. And we think it's how to eat the lunch at the desk, do it all at the desk. And it's like, we've been completely disconnected our bodies, and tuning back into that feeling, as you've been talking about as well, come back to the blueprint. What are the sensations that are coming up in my body? It is a big journey, right? So like, what would you advise people in terms of like, the deconditioning of coming back to their design and how to manage this in addition of going to a career? Because also we can tell ourselves, no, I'm going to work, but work is a distraction. Work is another form. Overworking is a form of numbing. So coming from
Absolutely.
our Manny Chen, multi-hustler who's wrote an amazing book on this, and you're kind of going, you even look back now thinking it was amazing, which obviously your book's amazing, but like, you're looking back going, I still was hustling. I was still deconditioning.
Yeah.
Give us.
Writing a second book. Yeah. We're writing a book right now, the next one. But anyway, I love this because really that was exactly me. My hustle was so I didn't have to feel. Right. And that's most people, right? That is our strategy. Just shove it all down. You don't have to feel it then. So what I really believe, self-care is the number one success strategy. So for a manifester, it would be rest. For a generator, a lot of times it's move your fucking body because your energy, but go out, take a walk in nature. Like, but everyone, what is yours? For a projector, it would be rest. For a reflector, it really just sitting in it. You have to listen to your body. Manifestors, generators, what lights you up? Manifestor, what do you have energy for? If you don't, then rest. A generator, Manny-John, what lights you up? Are you feeling agitated? Go move your body. What do you need to do? A projector, what are you obsessed about? All right, great. Do that. So, making sure that you're paying attention to your body's signs, because that's when, and I really look at it. And in those times, you are still quote unquote working when you're resting, when you're out walking in nature, because that's when you get your best ideas, regardless. When you're paying attention to your body is when the world, universe, God, whatever you believe in, has the space to tell you what you need to fucking do. That is a strategy. And we don't look at it like that. I have to be doing the traditional work, right? Grinding it out, answering the emails, doing that. No, that's just the byproduct of some of the things that you do once the actual work of you listening to your body has been done. But that's the initiator of it.
I love this. So tell me, for you, right? You're an emotional 5-1
Yeah.
Manny Jen, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm married to an emotional manifester. So for me, I'm like, I would say I would swap blueprints. I would always, sometimes I would love to swap blueprints with people in general, because I'm like, I'd love to experience life in your body and your design, because we all experience the world so differently.
Yeah.
Obviously we have massive similarities, but the emotional piece, if you had the sacral authority, I'd be like, yeah, I'm swapping designs with you right now.
Exactly.
How did you, and how do you, well, obviously you work for yourself now, so you can do whatever the fuck you want, but like, how did you manage, or how do you guide leaders that have an emotional authority to lead? Because, in a boardroom situation or in life in general, like, I mean, everyone wants everything now, instant. And whereas that you need to ride the wave to get the clarity. So how do you
Right.
guide leaders back to clarity, but with their authority? when it's emotional?
Yeah, I love that question because it was one of the most profound things I learned about myself when I got into human design, because especially being a Manny Gen, I would pride myself on being able to make fast decisions and I move fast and yes, I've had a great deal of success in my life. And I know I would have had so much more success had I waited out my emotional wave to make
Mm.
those decisions. And I would have had more joy because I think Richard Rudd says this, really trying to make a decision when you're in fear, when you're in high or low emotional state is like trying to hit a target with a bent arrow. And it's totally true. So when I learned that about myself, one, I was pissed. I'm like, that's not true. I make great and when I really did the experiment, because that's what I suggest everyone does, don't take anyone's word, mine, Elaine's, anyone's word for what you should do. Experiment with it. Right. So what I would do is, okay, I'm going to wait out. I wait overnight to make any big decisions. I mean, not like having fucking dinner or something, but a big decision. I will wait overnight and I will just pay attention to, even if, because I have a defined sacral. So even if my sacral says, yes, do this, I listen to that. I don't take action upon it though, until my emotions are neutral. And so throughout that day, I will then just pay attention. Is the decision mostly a yes? Is it mostly a no? Is it a maybe? What am I feel? I just pay attention to what's happening. And it's not like this big thing. I don't need to sit down and journal for hours. I'm just being aware of what I'm feeling. And then the next day, because I'll only get 80% clarity as an emotional authority, we don't get full clarity. The next day, I'll just reflect back. Was it mostly a yes? Was it mostly a no? Was it maybe? If it's mostly a no or a maybe for me, if it's mostly a no, I'll say no. If it's still a maybe, I will wait it out some more before I make that decision. And what then I will do is, okay, it's only 80% accurate on it. And then I'll just pay attention to, what do I feel once the decision is made? What is the outcome? Am I feeling peace? Am I feeling satisfaction from that decision? Well, then I know it's like a signpost. I know I'm driving in the right direction for what is right for me. If I'm feeling anger and frustration, okay, I made a wrong turn. Not a big deal, not earth shattering. Just make a different decision. And so that changed my life. And the other thing I had to really is, I thought I could make a decision if I was in high emotion. Well, that means good, right? That means it's not fit. Well, no, neutral emotion is where you want to make those decisions from. Not high, not low, just neutral.
Okay, so I'm coming to you as a corporate person, as in obviously, as in like one of your potential or
Yeah,
one of your
yeah.
clients, but without having to share some personal stories. But like my boss is a bitch, and I'm, every decisions have to be made on the spot, and I commit, and because I'm obsessed with over delivering, I do it anyways. So what does that feel? Because obviously I only know the knowledge of this and from
Yeah.
witnessing it with my own clients, because it can be like, you can say, for example, before this too, I'm like, oh, Brooke, I was like, try to come over and do a human design leadership retreat in Mallorca. And you're like, oh, absolutely, yeah. And I'm like, ride your wave. Because the
Right.
beginning, the high of the emotion, right, could be like, this will be incredible. Blah, blah, blah. But then the low of the wave could be like, I could get burned, or like past collaborations. Do you know what I mean? That's the extremity of the emotional
Yeah.
wave, right?
Yeah.
So in a
Absolutely.
corporate situation, how can someone inform of this? Because I know obviously you work obviously in a gazillion different modalities through this. You are a management, but like one of the things is like going in working with a team, and then
Yeah.
you're working with one of the leaders, and it's like, okay, well, this is how you communicate with this team member because they're a projector or whatever. So how do you educate, if it's someone who's listening to this podcast that doesn't have this in their corporation yet? You can take Brooke's information obviously and recommend her in for some training. But what about, like, how can somebody put in a boundary and inform that, going, this is actually how I make decisions in a leadership corporate
Yeah.
position?
Well, especially because for women, I feel that boundaries are a little more difficult for us to set than men, because society doesn't allow us to have them, right? We're supposed to give, 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 but really just own it. And whenever possible, anyone that your kids, your husband, your partner, your boss say, I make my best decisions when I can think on them overnight. Whenever possible. And you can set that boundary straight with your family, with your friends, and don't veer from it. Because here's the thing also, when you don't adhere to your boundaries, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting the other person. Because a lot of times what we're doing is we're doing something that was meant for someone else's learning. That was meant for someone else. So it's not, and I feel like as a woman, that makes it easier for us to adhere to those boundaries when we'll hurt ourselves all fucking day long. Whatever, I'll just take the hit. But when you recognize you're actually hurting the other person, because either it was something they were supposed to do to learn from, or it was someone else was supposed to do for them, you could be messing up their journey by taking on something that you aren't meant to have. But that's in family life when you can control that more with family and friends. When it's a boss and you don't necessarily have, sometimes you just have to make a decision. But first let them know, I do. And you don't have to get into, I have to ride my emotional wave and all they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just say, I know that I make my best decisions when I'm able to sleep on them. Or even if you're a reflector is a little bit more difficult. One of my best friends, that's lunar cycle. That's a whole different, but when I can sleep on it and adhere to that. Now, when it is something that you have to make the decision on the spot, then you have to tip into your sacral or your spleen or, just see what it's and make it. But then pay attention to the signs. How do you feel? If you're a manifester, right? Are you feeling anger or are you feeling peace? You know whether it was right or wrong then on how you're feeling in that moment. If you're a projector, are you feeling bitterness or are you feeling, think about your design and then feel into it and correct course if you have to. I think that that's the problem. So many people, everything is so dire and so life or death and it's really fucking nuts. Stop taking yourself so damn seriously. It's just not that big of a deal.
Yes. Oh, I have so many juicy questions to ask you, actually. But I want to. I think we could do a series.
I don't, yeah.
On this, another key point that actually I think you have wisdom on that you can share is the shame of changing. Because to lead, right? For us to lead with heart and authenticity moving forward as we step into 2027 and beyond, we need to not give a fuck.
Yes.
We need radical acceptance of ourselves. And we're going to tap into the 5 profile piece and be in the projection field after this one. But for now, right, because I know manifesting generators, like I would say taking on other people's projections and opinions, which I didn't realize it was so much unconsciously, made me sabotage my own growth. I watered the seeds myself. Definitely at times it's kind of, well, maybe I'm a little bit too much. Maybe I'll just, you're diluting down the essence. And it's like, are we an eau de toilette or are we an eau de perfume? Like I'm here for the perfume, but
Exactly.
pure essential oils. But you know what I mean? It's like this is why, you look back and you can go, oh, I could have been more successful. So each energy type has their own general conditioned expectations. And the one thing a manifesting generator struggles with, staying too long, as you said, or like holding on to something, it's fucking done. When the thing is, you can be doing multiple things at once as a Mani Gen, but like there's so much projection on manifesting generators, like, oh, you're always changing your mind, blah, blah. And this is how you're meant to move. So how did you step away from and shed that shame? Because at the end of the day, right, no one actually really gives a fuck, right? They give a fuck for like 2 seconds.
Right.
And yet you're sabotaging your own success as a result for what, like temporary buy-in on no, I'm so sorry. Lead the way.
Well, and it's funny because I was just talking about with my COO, the theme for 2026 for us is 0 fucks given. We are going to just be our authentic selves. And that will be that we will then attract in exactly what we need, what our higher selves needs. Really, I think the biggest shame and guilt I had was as a mother, because even my son, as a 5/1 projector, I wasn't the traditional mom. I didn't know. It was not how I was wired. And I was the, quality over quantity mom. I wasn't the homeroom mom, or, I would do the best. So it was tough from that. So that was my biggest learning, is really, and once I learned about human design, and that is very common for generator types, it gave me just this, it was such a weight lifted off. Like, fuck, this is just how I'm designed. So I feel like, especially for women, stop fucking pretending. Speak your truth. If you're feeling guilt or shame about something, regardless of what design you are, speak it. Because odds are people in your life are feeling the same. Like, we isolate ourselves. I must be the only one that sucks at this. Everyone else is great at this. No, everyone is walking around pretending. I really truly believe that moving into this 2026, 2027, it's going to be laying down that armor and just being who we were designed to be. And then recognizing that, wow, we are really all one. We all really share so many amazing things. And we're sharing the guilt and we're sharing the shame. Voice it. Because the most harmful thing, in my opinion, that we can do as humans is to identify with that guilt and that shame. It is one of the most harmful things we can do. Because here's the reality of it. An emotion, whether even the most painful emotion of like death, or the highest emotion of joy, and, Hawkins scale of, that 90 seconds. If you don't identify with it, if you don't put meaning to it, any emotion will dissipate in 90 seconds. But that means we have to feel it. But what we typically do is we identify with that shame. We own it. You'll hear people say, I am depressed. No, you're fucking not. That's not who you are. You may be experiencing depression. So it's really language. How does our brain learn? Through language. Well, especially language that we say to ourselves. So I feel, hopefully that answered your question, but just own it. Speak it. It will dissipate. And you will also, when you're speaking it, you're giving permission for someone else to maybe let go some of their shame and guilt as well. So that is, anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
No, I love this. I can actually tell you, I can see how you're triggering as fuck for people, actually, which will bring me on to my next question. But shame thrives in solitude, right? When we're holding this in.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right? I mean, I don't have the shame or guilt program anymore.
Right.
But it's funny. It's back to like what I was saying earlier with the filters. Like I do this in a lot of teachings when you're like looking at the Hawkins scale of consciousness and you're looking at the emotions. Take the colors. Imagine them, they're just all as filters like on a projector. And when you remove the program and you rewire it out of your system, mind, body, spirit rewiring, then it's like you're not looking your life through the lens. Like I can see now really clearly, like I'm like, wow, this is what it feels like to make a decision, an empowered decision from a higher self, not filtered through shame, guilt, obligation. And this actually is a perfect tie-in for the next question on the projection field. Like I definitely, when I would have felt guilt and shame on stuff, like even actually, obviously when we stepped, and this is actually huge. I think we need to just keep going as long as this conversation goes. The where we're moving into now, right? So like this has been the year of like 2025, the year of endings. 2026 is like this new beginning, but we're preparing for 2027, which is huge in the human design world. We're very excited in that in our line of work, obviously, because we're like, and obviously we're Aries, so we're the first house of the zodiac. So we're pioneering this, like this is happening. The one thing, like what I like, but yes, the reality is people are suffering. Like, people that are in the successful jobs, like, there is all this awakening happening and the rise in consciousness. But as also, we've seen the States, we see it ever, it creates division. And I was unaware of how much people will resent you being yourself, being
Yeah.
all of yourself, being your best self, or like shining your fucking light. If you go like when you're in, in places that are not necessarily aligned, but maybe there's Judy Bent, whatever,
Yeah.
It's insane. And I didn't, the biggest shock for me was actually learning obviously about the 5-1 profile was the fact that because you read an issue, you're like 5, leadership, visionary, problem solving. I'm going, oh, amazing. This is so great. Look at me. Right. And then it's like shadow, over functioning, people pleasing, the projection, and how much I did not realize my behavior was being driven by energy that was coming in. People don't even need to say, because we feel it in the fields. We feel them coming to ask for it. And particularly, I'd say, as a Manny Jen, you've got a defined route as well, that you're like almost like, boom, it's done. And it literally just like penetrated the fields for a second because you operate so fast. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm leaking power fucking everywhere. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So and this is, we're going to see this divide. Like we're going to see this more and more. And I'm like, everybody needs to lean to the light. Everybody needs to lean into their blueprint. But how did you manage this? How did you manage this and step into your own leadership? And this is for actually anyone who's a 5 or a 2 profile, actually.
Yeah, it was huge for me because I didn't, obviously before human design, I didn't know it. And I took on so much because yes, people can project onto us. They see us as a savior and all of these amazing things about us and how we can save them and this and that. Well, there's the flip side to it, as you know, that then we become the all the negative things that they feel about themselves, they project onto us. I had a relationship in the last company I was with, and he would say, you're not loyal, you're not a good friend, well, that was him. I didn't know that, and I'm thinking, the fuck, that's the exact opposite of me. So what I really had to look at is understanding what's mine and what someone is projecting on me. So again, it's the pause, right? The genius is in the pause, and just, is this mine or is this theirs? And trusting yourself. If I had that conversation again today and someone was saying that to me, I would pause and be like, nope, that's theirs. That's not mine. I know who I am. So that's what human design gives you, is to understand who you are, so that when you're projected upon, either good or bad, because we can also, as 5s, get these God complexes that, oh, fuck, I'm going to save the whole world and it's going to be amazing. Well, we are an acquired taste. We are not for everyone, and that's okay. Right? You and I talked about that earlier. We like to be liked, and we're just not going to be all the time. And it's all right. So really learning about your design to learn what's yours and what's not, because that's the thing. They project it upon us and we amplify it. So we even make it bigger. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm a horrible friend. I'm acting. And what I would do then is I would let down my boundaries and overcompensate where I was really already strong at. I was actually loyal to a fault when I shouldn't have been. And I was a great friend, giving more than I needed to already. So you have to really be careful as a 5 or as anyone to understand, because in any of our undefined centers, we're taking it in and we're amplifying out. So we have to really be clear on what's ours. And if you're emotional, like I am, that may take just waiting out that emotional wave and that trigger that you get when someone projects on you. And then to see, okay, is this me or is this not me? Because it may not be an instant answer. You may not know, especially as you're first getting into it and you're just starting this journey. It's okay.
Yeah. I didn't actually think about for you as well, it's even more complex with the emotional wave, right? Because that's how you process normally. See, for me, what a projection has felt like for me, which I didn't, and this is what you realize when you're working and you're on a treadmill, we're just on autopilot. We're running on just subconscious programming, like 95% unconscious. We're not questioning. Whereas now I'm like, well, now we've stepped into, evolve by design, success by design. We're like, we are the architects of our life. And to design the architecture, we need to understand how we're wired. How is our blueprint? This is the most potential we have to optimize in this lifetime. And what I'm just so amazed is like how much I was operating and taking action from the signals that weren't mine, these projections. Because I can feel like emotion. I could be completely fine. Like, my channel is clear now, but I had so many energetic hooks. I was just like powering everybody else. And I was like a huge amount of cord cutting to even actually really connect with my spleen when I started this journey years ago to like hear my intuition again. And but now obviously I live in I was gonna say I live in solitude. I don't live in solitude. I live on a slow island, right? And it has been amazing the past 2 years, like really deconditioning even more into like, seasonality, working with my cycle, the rest. And where I'd feel it is in like I could put something out online that maybe is a little bit out there, whatever. And then but I'm having a completely quiet day at home, and all of a sudden, it's like these intrusive thoughts could come out of nowhere, and I'm like, "Well," whereas before I would think that's me, and I'm going crazy. Whereas now I was like, "Oh, this is a projection." Okay, and this is why I'm always like to everyone, I'm like energetic hygiene, regardless of what your design is, every morning and every evening, like brushing your teeth, because we're all so fused and we're picking up cords and attachments all of the time, and particularly as people start to step into leadership now more and more, that you will, this is the hardest part of the journey, and this is the part I don't think is talked about enough, because I'm like I would have thought, I was like, oh, this is so easy, got my shit together years ago. It's like when you're really reaching the optimum points in your blueprint, it's like the tests get harder, the conversations can get lonelier because we don't have the same level of consciousness in some of the conversations, and you're kind of going like, you know and it's like it's really understanding the energy piece. It's like, this is mine, this is who I am, I accept and love myself fully, and anything else that robs me of the peace, the satisfaction, whatever, no, it goes. That's it.
I love it. Yeah, I completely agree. And it's really, there is no way. And you said one thing that, and it left me, but it's going to come back. It does that. Yeah, the energetic, really understanding who you are. And it's so hard because you're right. We are the world. In my mind, what I believe is everyone has infinite capabilities. There is no such thing as someone that is smarter, or no, we all have the same amount of capability. It's just on how awake are you? How many conditioning patterns are running your life? Are you on autopilot? I mean, let's get real. Some people are on autopilot maybe 100% of the time. I mean, just their conditioning is running the show. The only way to wake up is to look at those conditioned patterns and to like really understand what's yours and what is not yours, what was just conditioned in, which is what human design helps you to do. That is giving you your energetic blueprint before the patterns and the conditioning showed up. So it's a really freaking easy way to look at your gifts and say, fuck, that's not the shadows. The shadows are your conditioning. So when I was like, well, people would say, well, do energetic conditioning, know what's yours prior to human design. I'm like, know who you are. Well, how the fuck do you do that? Like, okay, and what does that mean? Well, that's what human design, that's why I was so lit up. I'm like, it just gave me a roadmap of me so that I can look at, okay, this shadow shows up when I act this way. I know it's conditioning and I can or decondition that. That's it. Like, we're already perfect. All human design does is wake us up so we have more capacity, so we can tap into that genius to create more success, whatever that looks like for you in your personal life, in your business life. So it makes it so easy. And so that's why I want to take the mysticism and the woo woo and it's so complicated shit. You could just know your type, your strategy, and your authority. That's it. If you just knew that about yourself, your life would change, exponentially get better. You would wake up. You would already just from that get rid of some of the conditioning.
100%. I think for me, I think the first year I obviously read about it, learned about strategy authority, and that was a permission slip in its own. That was huge. And actually, it's like, trust your intuition. I'm like, right, okay, I'm gonna like it took me a while to actually hear that, and then I like really fully come back online, and it was just like, wow. And like that has brought the most magical opportunities. And I did about you, and I'm sure all your clients as well, when they experience alignment as the strategy for success instead of hustle,
Yeah.
it is like what the fuck have we been doing? It actually gets to be easy. And I'm sure you see it in a lot of clients about how much people sabotage the success because ease doesn't feel normal after a lifetime of doing what we've been trained to do, which is like perform and hustle.
Yep. Well, especially like as I had said, one of my best friends is a splenic manifester like you. But she has the line too, which can be so difficult because we are taught that if you don't have to work hard for it, it doesn't mean anything. It's worthless. Where line twos are all about beautiful gifts you were just born with, the ease and flow. So I think we're all going to start experience. We all do experience to a certain extent what a line two does is that we tend to dismiss what comes naturally to us. Just think of traditional schooling. Traditional schooling is you have to work harder on the things that don't come easy to you. I wasn't fabulous at math, so I had to take, no, fuck that. I needed to get into more of, the arts and all the things, like really lean hard into the things that do come natural to you, that make you feel ease and flow and joy. That's right there is a sign without knowing anything about human design. If you just did that, if you just followed your joy, if you just followed ease, which that is so counterintuitive to everything we've been taught, but that is right there. That's an amazing strategy for fulfillment and success. Just that, because the universe, God, whatever you believe in has brought you here with natural gifts, not to grind it out, trying to figure out shit you're not good at. No, it just doesn't make any sense. When you look at it logically like that, like why? No.
Because the number one relationship that we will ever have is not our partners or children. It is with ourselves. I do kind of scratch my head as to, it's like, I feel like I've been waking up to this, like, I'm like, whatever, like 10 years ago, but still, I'm like, I've lived 30 years of my life.
Right.
Completely just programmed for something different. And this is why I'm so happy all these shifts are happening. But I want you to tell us about your Success by Design community. So
Yes.
obviously, I could actually, so I'll hold myself because I could ask you a gazillion one more questions. I mean, 251s. I said this to your COO. Actually, I was like, when she was setting the appointment, I was like, God, this could go on. I was like, we will talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your amazing community that you launched, Success by Design.
Yeah. So I'm so passionate about it. 2026 is all about building our communities and retreats and just attracting amazing, amazing people that really want to learn their own unique success strategy, which is them, right? You are your number one success strategy. So it's for anyone that they might feel burnt. They're just sick of the hustle, right? They've woke up and said, fuck, I thought at this level of success, I would feel this way, or I thought I would have this level of success. And it's really about fully embodying that success does not give you happiness. Happiness gives you success. Right. And
Yes.
so really tapping into that, helping people to understand that, to your point, rest, slowing down, that is like getting out of your head, getting out of that masculine frequency, take massive action and getting back into your body. What does that look like? How does that feel for you? What is your success by design? What does that look like for you? We want to help people become their own guru, become their own expert in really just looking at who am I? What was I put here to do? What is going to give me the most joy and fulfillment? And I'm not saying you have to give everything up and blow up your life. There are ways to do it so that you can still maintain a level of financial security that you have. You don't need to just, go sit on a mountaintop and meditate for the rest of your life to get enlightenment. There's so many different ways to do that. So we're giving a free month to anyone that wants to try Success by Design. And it is already so reasonable. It's $47 a month for our lowest tier. I mean, it's insane. We wanted to make it for the masses. I didn't want to just help the top, 1% of the world that can afford consulting and executive coaching and all the things. I want to change the world. And the way to do that is, I think, to make it accessible to everyone. So that's what we're doing.
Amazing. Well, I'm celebrating you on that, by the way. Well, that's one, an amazing price, but two, actually just like really owning your own Aries 5-1 power. And it's like, yeah, if it's small, we're like, oh, I just couldn't give a fuck. It's like, I want massive change. I want this everywhere. And this is where I'm like, the fact that I've attracted you into my life, to have this conversation. It's like, you swear we've been sitting down doing human design study together for years or something. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
And anyone who's a regular listener to this show knows I've always talked about like human design in corporate, human design in schools. And here you are, Manny Jen, building this out, making this happen. I'm going to put in the link to your community in the show notes for anyone who wants to join, I'm going to say sign up from the Manifestor Initiating. And lastly, I want to hear about your new book. So your first book, bestseller, Burn On, Not Out.
Yep.
Tell me, what is the next chapter from this? And can you see, actually, by the way, how Brooke is Manny Jen? She's got like a gazillion retreats, community, corporate workshops, podcasts, best-selling books.
Yeah. So what I realized was I love, it was my journey up to that point. Burn On, Not Out was really how it's explaining the story of my masculine frequency drive to succeed. And so, and it's really, and it's giving people some ways to be able to step off the treadmill. But it was before I was brave enough to really dive into the human design piece of things. And to really, I want to now, this second book is really that moving from masculine to feminine frequency and with human design. So it's been my journey over the last 3 years. And now you gave me some more insight on the Aries and what we've been experiencing over the last 18 months. So that's going to just be an amazing piece of it. So thank you for giving me something else to respond to. I absolutely love that. So it's going to be even better.
Fabulous. So it's like Brooke unfiltered.
Yes.
But here's the thing, right? And for all of us as a manifestor in particular, we really suck at this, where it's like we create something, we follow creative urge, and we love it. It's like the best thing. I'm like, the same, it's going to change the world. All these things are going to happen. And it's like, like you're even listening to our own stuff. We're like, did I channel that? That's like, really, like we actually can get motivated by what we channel ourselves.
Yeah.
But then we fucking hate it. Then it's like,
you're not designed to execute. You're designed to, all of us generators, to be inspired by you and to support you in executing.
100%. I do have the gated growth in my consciousness. So I do bring things to completion, but it's more about the marketing piece. It's kind of, we're like, we can get a bit slow. But sorry, the main point of this is actually more just on not throwing shade in what we created in the past. And for you, if you were launching your book, right, this new book, like a couple of years ago, the collective is not ready for it. This is why I'm like, everything has a divine plan. So we can punish ourselves when we start becoming aware of how conditioned we've been. Yeah. And sometimes we let that deter us because it's like, I want to live in denial almost. And it's like, no, this is part, like, there is no limit to how much joy and magic actually is available to us when we follow our design. And it's like to let go of the past and appreciate the steps, because that book is going to help the person who is that older version of you, right? It's not going to resonate with somebody that's going to be at the level that will for this new book, because you've changed, you've evolved, and everything's resonance at the end of the day. So, but for you, it's like, yeah, great for you to be like, no, I'm done now with this. I'm letting it go. And that's how you keep the flow, right? And you keep the magic and you keep the energy. It's like, as you said, follow your joy.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. Wake up every day so excited. Like, is it really this simple? Like, just follow your joy. It is. It really, I have experienced more love, more joy, more success with the most profoundly amazing people of my entire life since implementing this strategy into my life.
And I actually just want to congratulate you on that again as well, in terms of you've implemented this in your 50s. Because the other stereotype for the woman is that, you know, you get over, you have your kids, and then when your kids go off to college and you're done. And it's like, no, you're fucking not.
Just
It's
fucking
like,
starting.
it's like reinvention era. Let's go, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it can get even better. I know you said before, you're like, you wish years ago you'd have known like human design as a parent, particularly because you've got two non-sacros. But this is what you're here teaching in the world now. For it's like, here are the new ways. Here are new systems, new strategies for success. And of course, nobody in corporate's going to say, be your best self, you know, follow your joy. That's going to make, because they need you to achieve the goal, you know? And now it's time to like take your own part back. And as Brooke has said, it is not about like, you don't need to quit your job. It's about being more of yourself in your job. Like, I do look back and I'm kind of going, I loved, like, don't get me wrong, I loved most of my jobs. I think the last one was definitely a test. But the other previous ones, like my international jobs, I absolutely fucking love them. Even though I was wrecked, I was having the time of my life. And I think back sometimes going, God, I would have even positioned myself so much better had I known this information. I never would have had doubt walking into any room. I would not have been shaking or sweating because I would have just really fucking owned who I was. And every man, every woman deserves that right. Get blueprints for your children. Get yourself signed up by Success by Design. And I just want to say thank you so much. I know I could keep going, but I'm conscious like we're on an hour and a half, and we should do a separate breakdown into the Manny Jen series. But I think, yeah, I'm just thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. And for anybody that's listening today, like, you know, connecting with Brooke, leave a comment. Let us know what has landed most for you. And yeah, go you girl for pioneering this change into the lands of corporate and beyond through this amazing modality that we have to teach.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. I loved it.
Well, here's to more, girl. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey in activating your higher self. I'm so grateful to every listener in this community and would love to know what you think. So drop into my DMs or send me a message and be a part of the expansion of our collective by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. And let's rise and flow together.